So we're here with the lovely after-school crew. Say hi.
Hi.
All right, and we're going to review adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators and simplifying. So let's review the steps first. Who can read us the first step? What is the first step, Chris? Nice and loud.
Make them have the same denominator. Multiply top and bottom by the opposite denominator.
Good. And I want to remind you to embrace the flow cap song. Okay? You know the song that I showed you that went multiply the bottom and top by the opposite denominator.
No.
I'll show it to you again. But you need to embrace the flow cap. Okay? So after you've done that, you've multiplied the bottom and top, they have the same denominator. Then what do you want to do, Samantha?
Add and subtract.
Yeah, you're going to add and subtract just like normal. Except you do not add or subtract the denominator, right? Just the numerator. Good. And then the last step, Lucinda?
Simplify the answer if improper.
If it's improper, make it into a mixed number. And what if it's just a regular old fraction? How do you simplify it? Yeah, you're going to want to make a T-chart, and you're going to want to find the greatest common factor. So let's look at our first example. And if you are listening to this recording, you're one of my students, you might want to pause it right now, answer the question, solve it, then press play to see if you got it right. I'll give you a second to press pause. All right, let's review it. So, the first step is going to be to multiply the bottom and top by the opposite denominator. And the more you do it, the more that song's just going to play in your head. So, what do I want to do first? Go ahead, Chris.
I want to make the T-chart.
No, not the T-charts when we simplify. We need to make them at the same denominator first. Maya?
You're going to write down your 5 tables?
Nope, that's for the T-chart. Abby?
You multiply 5 and 3?
Yeah. We're going to multiply, okay, by our opposite denominator. So 3 times 1 is 3, and 3 times 5 is
10. 15.
15.
Ooh, I already got the answer.
Okay? So 3/15, that is the same as saying 1/5. Same exact thing. Okay, they are equivalent fractions. Then we have to make 2/3 into 15ths as well. So we're going to take the 5 and we're going to multiply it by the 2 and by the 3. So what is our numerator going to be of our second fraction, Kaylee?
It is going to be 3.
5 times 2.
Oh, okay. 10.
Excellent. And our denominator is going to be?
15.
Excellent. Okay, our denominator stays the same. Okay, now you can see that they have the same denominator. So we're going to just add up our numerators.
13.
And our answer is going to be 13/15. If I want to check to see if I need to simplify that, I would just make my T-chart. I'm going to get 1 times 13 there, 1 times 15, and 3 times 5. And the only one that they have in common is 1. That tells me that my number is as simplified as it's going to get. Okay? It cannot get any simpler. Yes, Abby?
What about whenever you do how many times you put 13?
You would do that if you had an improper fraction, if your numerator was bigger. Let's look at a subtraction problem. When you're subtracting, you're going to do it exactly the same way, except when you get to the addition step, you're just going to subtract. So if you're listening to this video, go ahead and pause it, and then restart. All right, we're just going to watch this little portion of the flow cap just to remind us how to do this if you are stuck.
Multiply the bottom and the top by the opposite denominator. Keep the bottom the same, but add the top. We aim steady, add it if you're ready or not. Multiply the bottom and the top by the opposite denominator.
So let's take a look at this after that little review. So it tells us multiply the bottom and top by the opposite denominator. So 4, there we go, is the opposite denominator of 7/8. Okay, it's the denominator of the other fraction. So we're going to take that and we're going to multiply both the bottom and top by 4. So Cole, tell me what fraction we make. 4 times 7 is what?
28 and 8 times 4 is 32.
Perfect. Okay, so 7/8 equals 28 over 32. Then we're going to take our 8, because it's the opposite denominator, and we're going to multiply both our top and bottom by 8. So what is our new fraction going to be, KV?
Our new fraction will be 24/32.
Perfect. Okay, and then we subtract. We're not changing the sign that we're doing. So this gives us 4 over 32. But we need to see if we can simplify that. So we're going to make our T-chart for 4 and 32. How do we get to 4? What are some ways to get to 4?
4 times 1.
4 times 1, what else?
2 times 2.
And 2 times 2. What about to get to 32? Raise your hand and tell me. To get to 32, Kaylee.
8 times 4.
Ooh. Okay, what's another way, Maya?
32 times 1.
Yep. What's another way, Chris?
16 times 2.
Perfect.
They both have a 4.
All right. So they both have a 1. They both have a 2. And they both have a 4. So what is our greatest common factor? 4. So we're going to divide top and bottom
1/8.
to get 1/8.
I got the opposite answer.
Let's take a look now and apply our order of operations skills. Who remembers order of operations?
Me.
Who remembers? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally.
No.
Okay? We want to do what is in the parentheses first. Okay, PEMDAS.
Excuse my Aunt Sally. No.
So-
Excuse my dear Aunt Sally.
Yes.
Sally.
We're going to start with what's in the parentheses. If you're listening to this video, pause it, solve it, turn it back on. Okay. So let's walk through how to do this. We're going to look at our parentheses first. Do not even worry about 9/12 yet.
Wait.
Can we add 1/2 and 1/6?
No.
No. I'm going to,
Why not?
girls, we cannot. So what we need to do is what? Raise your hand and tell me. What do we need to do to be able to add those, Kaylee?
You have to, like, do the thing we just did before that. You have to, like, okay, so the 1 will be multiplied by 2, right?
We're going to multiply the bottom and top by the opposite denominator. So if this is my opposite denominator, what am I going to multiply that with? 2 and what?
12.
Because I'm going to multiply it with these over here. So 6 times 2 is 12, and 6 times 1 is 6. Now how do I change 1/6 to be in 12ths? What am I going to do? How do I get it to go into 12ths, Abby?
2 times 2.
Yep.
And then 2 times 1 is
Perfect. And then if I add them together, I get 8/12ths. Am I done with this problem?
No.
No, because I had up here that I was subtracting 9/12ths
But you can't.
minus our answer we just got was 8/12ths. So raise your hand and tell me, what is our final answer going to be for this problem, Cole?
1/12.
1/12.
That's easier than I thought.
Let's take a look really quick at what will happen if you get an improper fraction. If I do my adding and my answer answer that I get ends up being 13/5. Can I leave that as 13/5?
No.
No, you need to change it to a mixed number. How are you going to change it to a mixed number, Chris?
You're gonna take the 1 and make it. You're gonna take. Oh, I forgot.
Ooh, I know.
I think
Maya?
you take one of the numbers and make it a whole and then a fraction.
Yep, well, we want to make a whole number with a fraction, but how do we figure out how to do that? We have to think about how many times 5 can go into 13. I mean, how many times can 5 go into 13? Twice. And if I think about that, that's like taking 5/5 plus 5/5. Okay, this is called decomposing the fraction.
10
So they're not 10/10. You never, ever, ever add the denominator. That equals 10/5. How many more fifths do I have to go to get to 13/5 if I'm at 10/5?
0.
To go from 10 to 13 is 0?
No.
How many?
3.
3. Okay, so what you're left with is 2 wholes. And what is our fraction part going to be?
8/5.
3/5. Okay, you can go in 2 times, and it has 3 left over. KB?
Wait, nothing.
Okay. All right, so keep practicing that